Now in this video I'm going to introduce you to the concepts of intervals and harmony in music and their relation to each other. So what are intervals in music? Well, you can think of intervals as the word classes of music. A language has different word classes like adjectives, nouns, etc. Music has different intervals, which are basically the distance between two notes. Alright, so intervals and harmony are closely related terms. Basically, if you play one note followed by another note, you have an interval. And if you play them at the same time, it's called a harmony. All intervals and harmonies have a different sound to them, so learning the character of all these intervals is a really important part of becoming a music composer. Just like learning how to use all the different word classes in a language if you are becoming an author or writer for a newspaper, for example. So intervals go from the smallest distance between the notes, which is a semitone apart, up to the biggest distance, which is a perfect octave apart. Now, sometimes you can in fact even count the interval for the same note played twice. It's called unison, meaning there is no distance. In music composition, you often use the terms consonant and dissonant. And this is especially clear for the intervals and harmonies. Basically, consonant is thought of as a pleasing sound, while dissonant has a degree of tension to it. I personally tend to think about all elements in music as having various degrees of tension, just as with a story or a movie. Sometimes you sit on your edge watching the action on scene, and sometimes you simply relax in your chair. That is the difference between consonant and dissonant in music. And what creates these emotions and tension in many cases in music is based on what intervals and harmonies you use. That is why it is super important to learn and really get an instinct for how each interval and harmony sounds, because they will become an essential part of your music composition toolkit when you tell your story. Now get ready and listen closely. This is a lesson you will probably watch several times, because I will go through each interval in music and play it going up as well as going down, because the emotional character is very different depending on which direction you go. I will also play the notes in harmony. Alright, let's start. intervals and harmony are the very building blocks of music, because you use them to create melodies, form chords, and basically choose how you tell your story with music. For example, here is a major third interval, and this is a minor third interval. As you have learned if you count the notes, seminotes, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a major third, and 1, 2, 3, that's a minor third. And if you pay attention, you can see that this chord does also contain a third harmony, which was made by stacking these two together, which is this, a perfect fifth. So this is actually a C major chord. Then you can create more complex chords by adding new intervals on top. So let's say we add another minor third interval here. So 1, 2, 3. And now you have a new chord called a dominant seventh. And when you create melodies, you are basically adding intervals in a sequence, like this. So I went from, that's a perfect fifth, that's a major second down, and so on. Each interval in music has its own emotional character, and some intervals are more pleasing while others are very dissonant. Like this dissonant interval of a minor second, for example. As you have heard in a famous movie, or in many movies, this cliché, because it has so much tension in it, while other intervals has more pleasing and resolving sound like this. Those are the perfect intervals, perfect unison, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, and perfect octave, which you will find are used very much in all music. Now take action and practice all intervals and harmonies in music. I recommend two ways of doing this. The first is to listen to all intervals one by one and come up with a song that uses the specific interval, so you have a personal association for each interval. And write them all down in your own interval association song list. For example, for the minor second interval, I have written down Jaws theme, which is this. And for the perfect fifth interval, I have written down Star Wars theme. That's the perfect fifth, and it sounds like this. And so on. Just make sure the songs you associate to each interval are ones that you know very well. The second exercise I recommend is to play through each interval going up, down, and in harmony. In your daily practice routine. It only takes a couple of minutes, and your end goal is to develop a true instinct for each interval and harmony in music. Remember, these are the very building blocks of music. So have fun playing intervals and harmonies. My name is Mike, and I'll see you in the next video. Click the notification bell on YouTube to get all my new videos and live shows. Thank you so much. Your support is legendary.